Liquid Lunch Live is brought to you by Cuestión Tequila.
All right, you are watching Liquid Lunch. I'm Frank Morano, sitting in for John Tobacco, who's in Florida with the vice president. John may check in with us throughout the course of the hour. Still to come, we're going to talk with Bill O'Reilly, and we're going to find out his take on a wide variety of subjects in the news. You're not going to want to miss that. And today, believe it or not, is National Catfish Day. So for those of you that are bottom feeders, we're not sure whether we're celebrating the fish/food or the practice of pretending to be someone online in order to get someone to send you embarrassing photographs and text messages. Here to help us break that and a number of issues in the news down, we have our Two for Tuesday Erin panel. Erin Sykes, retail and sales strategist, consultant, and QVC host, and Erin Elmore, attorney, political analyst, and spokesperson for Turning Point USA. Erin's welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
Double
coming.
dose of Erin's.
Yes. Absolutely. We even have, still to come, some people on the show that aren't named Erin. Erin Elmore, let me begin with you. What is Turning Point USA exactly?
So Turning Point USA is an organization that's a conservative-leaning organization, and they help young people because, as we know, college isn't often down to high schools. There's a lot of media bias, and there's a lot of bias against conservatives. So we're helping these young conservatives have their voice, learn a little bit, empower themselves, and, you know, live the American dream.
Now, Erin Sykes, you're practically a regular on the show. You're on the show more than John Tobacco is. You're on QVC. You're an expert in business, branding, a number of different areas. Let me begin by getting your take on the tariffs. There were some numbers coming out today showing consumer confidence starting to tick down a little bit, and that in Trump country, especially among these farmers, they're starting to be hurt by these retaliatory Chinese tariffs. What do we make of this from an economic point of view and from a political point of view?
Absolutely. So basically, the tariffs were never meant to be a short game. You always have to kind of take the full road, look at the big picture, and then maybe we'll be transferring some of our manufacturing, the lower part of the supply chain, over to Vietnam. Maybe we'll just take the tariff hit, but then eventually be able to move things back into the United States, which would be the big win. Or, you know, maybe we're just going to have to continue negotiations and just hold tight for a little while. So I think the most important word right now is patience and just trusting that the president absolutely is the best deal maker in history and knows what he's doing.
Erin Elmore, one of the things that I found so attractive about President Trump's candidacy in 2016 and back in 2000 when he was thinking about running is that he didn't subscribe to this Republican orthodoxy that free trade was always good. He ran on a platform largely against where Republicans were on the trade issue the last 20 years. How is it going to work out for him politically and economically this time around?
Well, the thing about Donald Trump is he's that breath of fresh air in a very broken system that is our politics in the United States. And what he wanted to be was different. So he was breaking those molds. He was a disruptor of this system, and he does not abide by these norms. So looking forward to 2020, I think he's just going to continue this unorthodox approach. He's not afraid of Iran. He's not afraid of China. And it's showing our economy is stronger. We've been in these horrible deals with these countries and tariffs forever. And he said enough is enough. And I think that's going to resonate with the American people.
And Erin Sykes, I don't want to number you. I don't want to number you Erin number 1 and Erin number 2 because I don't
you
want
can
to
just call her Sykes and me Elmore.
I feel like that's rude. Ms. Sykes, Ms. Elmore.
No, it's classy.
Fair enough. Okay, Ms. Sykes. So even with the lack of consumer confidence, even with consumer debt and government debt through the roof, even with some uncertainty in terms of the housing market, this June stock market was another record. Does the president get all the credit for that?
I think he gets a whole lot of the credit. I think it's his leadership and his direction in the tariff and the trade agreements, and absolutely. However, I also think that we've been kind of boosted up by a lot of other items kind of finding that perfect storm right now. So the fact that we've been riding this up and down wave, so March was, you know, horrible, April was mediocre, and then kind of got reset to a pretty decent month as well. I think we have to contribute a lot of it to the American people and our patients, and really having high employment and spending our money somewhat wisely.
We know it wasn't Obama. That's all we know.
Well, so
I think we can all agree on that.
Right? So there was a slow recovery under the Obama years. It was the weakest recovery after a recession since World War II, but it was a bit of a recovery. The president comes in, and does the president deserve all the credit for the economic recovery and the rising stock market, or do you have to begrudgingly, even as a conservative, give a little credit to the prior administration?
Absolutely not. He had 8 years. 8 years. 8 years. And what happened? GDP was not over 4%. Didn't he say you needed a magic wand?
He did.
Well, that didn't happen.
You've been pretty liberal with that gavel for a conservative, I'll tell you.
Well, I am a lawyer, so there's something in there.
Exactly.
I've always wanted to gavel it up.
So, Ms. Sykes, I have not even been able to get you guys to disagree so far, even so far as your name. But here's an issue where maybe I can foment a little disagreement. Talk to me about Bitcoin. When you talk economics, when you talk the economy, when you talk the stock market, fewer things these days are more controversial than Bitcoin. Now, John Tobacco is going to be in Miami tomorrow with our Liquid Lunch crew at the Bitcoin Center in Miami. So John is Mr. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now over 10,000 or 11,000? 11,000. And this is a number that those people that were expecting this Bitcoin bubble to burst long ago never thought we'd see. Is Bitcoin here to stay, and are cryptocurrencies here to stay?
I think crypto is definitely here to stay. I think blockchain is absolutely here to stay. I think that this 11,000 number for Bitcoin is being driven by Libra and the Facebook announcement of creating their own cryptocurrency, which is more of like a pseudo cryptocurrency. So I think that this might be like a little bit of a boost that we'll see a pullback on in the coming month or so. But I think that Bitcoin has just really been driving all the momentum for blockchain and for crypto and kind of breaking the glass ceiling. Do I really think that Bitcoin itself is the best choice of a cryptocurrency investment? No. But
so what is?
I mean, I think that the ones that are in the middle, so like the ethers of the world, maybe Libra. There is a lot of controversy since Facebook has not absolutely been the best at managing people's privacy in the past. So how are they going to manage all of these transaction costs? But I do think that there's something to be said for those middle grounds. Not the front runner, not the one that's been breaking those glass ceilings, but and not those micro, cryptos.
Ms.
as
Elmore,
well.
does she know what she's talking about?
Absolutely. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin.
You're not?
No.
Oh, so
it's the blockchain technology, which is probably here to stay and has the real momentum, but Bitcoin's a little too trendy for me.
Well, so would you be buying at 11,000 or no?
I'm not messing with it. I'm staying out of that marketplace.
There you have it.
I think it's got a lot of volatility. I mean, I'm sure the technology underlying it is here to stay, but not a Bitcoin fan.
All right. When we come back, I want to focus on two issues involving the president. One involving the president's policies, and that has to do with healthcare transparency, and one involving the president's I don't know, for lack of a better description, personal scandal. We're going to get into that after the commercial. But before we do, the economy being a political issue, we all know, you guys are smarter than me, so you know this better than I do. There are all sorts of factors that go into an economy that have nothing to do with the president, and there could be a recession before 2020. It could happen, irrespective of anything the president does. If there is a recession, does that take away the president's defining rationale for why he should be reelected?
I don't think there's going to be a recession, so I think the point is moot.
Well, but okay, playing the hypothetical game.
All right,
with
devil's
me.
advocate for you. I don't think that would certainly be an asset to the president or a great talking point for 2020. But where we are right now, with how strong the economy is, where the jobs numbers are, GDP, low interest rates, I don't see a recession.
So, Ms. Sykes, can the president win re-election if there is a recession? Be honest.
No.
He can't.
Although I agree with Ms. Elmore that there's not going to be a recession and that the point is moot.
All right. Well, so when we come back, it is, of course, it would have been George Michael's birthday. George Michael from the Culture Club, one of the great culture warriors.
Culture Club.
Oh, no, that was Boy George.
Oh, my God. He's alive. Don't break fake.
Sorry.
That's fake news. I got to have faith, the faith.
This is a retraction. Boy George is alive. We want a breaking news lower third when we come in.
Beverly Hills house.
I know.
true?
That was such
Oh,
years.
My goodness. comments. All right.
It was so good.
So if you're just tuning in, this is Liquid Lunch. I'm Frank Moreno sitting in for John Tobacco with the two Erins, Erin Elmore and Erin Sykes. Both say Boy George is alive. Both say there won't be a recession. When we come back, we'll get their take on healthcare transparency and this latest sexual assault allegation. I'm Frank Moreno. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV.
Show us your business. Email John Tobacco at jt@thetokenteam.com and you may get your chance to appear on Liquid Lunch Live.